Hello. Um, so, this week is National Mental Health Awareness Week. And I just wanted to talk about some of my experiences with my own mental health. Now, I have struggled with a lot of things for about 4 or 5 years now, and I'm quite open about it, and I talk to anybody that asks. I talk about it, and whenever I do talk about it, the response that I always get is people call me brave, and so many people say to me that they struggle with the same things, but they just don't talk about it. And what I'm trying to say is I think we all need to talk about it. I think it's such a huge part of our lives. It's something like one in 3 or 1 in 4 people struggle with some level of mental illness, and that is huge. That's absolutely huge, and we just don't. I don't know. Me going through it, I definitely didn't have anybody around me that was going through a similar thing, and so I think I would have appreciated a bit more conversation about it. So there we are. So this isn't me trying to attention seek, or I don't know, take it for what you will, but the intention of this is that sorry, this isn't easy. The intention of this is that it opens conversation and people realise that it can affect anybody. So for me to start probably at the beginning, I was the most outgoing, independent, confident, wild-spirited person. So much so that at high school, I remember my friends would always kind of have to hold me back and say, Amy, like, be careful, watch your surroundings and have a plan, and I just wasn't like that. So much so that I moved to Paris on my own at 18, which I thought was really normal, but I had a lot of people kind of shocked that I'd done that, and that I'd been brave enough to do that, which anyway, I did it, and it was the best time. I lived there for 3 years, and I just had the best time of my life. And I was really, really reckless, and thinking about it now, like, my safety was of absolutely no concern to me. I just lived each day as it came, and I just had the best time. And then I moved to London, and I was in London for about maybe 18 months, 2 years before anything kind of happened. So it all started for me, I think, when I left my house in Tooting one day to go and get on the tube, and I was jumped outside my house by 2 guys, and they mugged me and stole some stuff, but it wasn't a bad attack at all. It wasn't, well, every attack's bad, but it wasn't I wasn't hurt by it, or it could have been a lot worse, and I know that a lot worse happens to a lot of people, and they come out of it a lot better than I've done. So that was that, and it didn't affect me for about 6 months probably, or I didn't realise that it had affected me until a lot later. So I just carried on my normal life, and then I think what happened was I became so aware of people around me that I was kind of always on edge, and I was always conscious of everybody around me, and I couldn't trust anybody around me. And in London, there's people everywhere. you can't get away from crowds, and so I started to really struggle with crowds, and I was kind of always on edge and always like looking around me, and that obviously built up a lot of anxiety. So it started out for me as panic attacks. I remember I had my first panic attack on the tube, and I was on the Northern Line going to work as I did every day, and I was standing up, and I just became really, really conscious of all the people around me, and I got my body started to have like physical changes, such as I got really, really hot and I couldn't breathe, and I was like sweating so much, and I was like, I thought for a long time that I had an asthma problem, and I was like, I can't breathe, there's not enough oxygen in here, and I got really, really obsessed for about a year, maybe 2 years, with oxygen. And I know that sounds completely irrational, but I was just aware of wherever I was just really, really conscious of how much oxygen was in the room. So of course when I was on the tube and the tube was full, and if God forbid we got stuck in a tunnel or something, I would just think, there's not enough oxygen in here, we're all gonna die, which is completely stupid, I know that now. So it started out as panic attacks. I had a really, really good job in London that paid for private healthcare, thank goodness, and I had quite a lot of psychology sessions, so I saw a psychologist about once a week through that time, and she helped me to understand panic attacks and to understand that the physical change that happens to your body comes after the mental process, which I didn't believe at first and couldn't get my head around. So she effectively told me that your body is reacting like this, so you're sweating and your heart's racing and you're short of breath and you're going dizzy and faint, and all of this is happening because your mind has told your body there's a problem here. And it took me a really long time to understand that, but once I did, I really that really helped me. So now I know, and it still happens to me now, but now I know that if my body's reacting like that, I can control it by sorting my head out. So telling myself, and she'd say, look around on the tube, everybody else here is breathing and they're fine, and nobody else is panicking, and nobody else is no one else has got a problem with the air, with the oxygen, because they're all fine. So it just kind of showed me that it was irrational. So that was the panic attacks, and that lasted 6 months, I don't know. And then I started getting really, really angry at myself. So because I'd been it had kind of gone from one extreme to the other. I was so outgoing and so independent, and then all of a sudden I became really, really housebound and reliant on my boyfriend and my house and my work, and so I became really angry at myself. I don't know when the transition went from anxiety to depression. I don't know how that phased out, but basically it's 4 or 5 years on now, which is really shit, to be honest. And I am up and down. I've been on so many different types of medication, and I've seen so many different psychologists and therapists and counsellors, and it's been a long journey, and I have really, really good months and places where I feel really strong, and then I don't. So last week I had a bit of a breakdown again, and this happens quite a lot to me, or it has done lately, because I think I've been in a bit of a bad place and I haven't really admitted it to anybody. Last week I had a breakdown, and my mum and my best friend Kira, they both kind of said, right, that's enough now, you need to stop. So I went back to the doctors, and he's put me on a new type of medication. I haven't been on any medication since last summer, which is brilliant. he's put me on a new type of meds and told me that I need to see a psychiatrist now, which is a bit scary because that makes me think of straitjackets, which I know isn't true. And he's a really, really good doctor, and he's kind of reassured me that it's not that. So the point of this video is just to say that it happens to all of us. Not all of us, hopefully not all of us, but a lot of us. And even now, I have a really, really good job, and I'm doing really well at work, and I'm really pleased with the way that my career is going, and I'm really well respected at work, and in the industry. And if you see me at work, I'm like power suit 5 days a week, on it, don't ever stop working, and then it comes to the weekends and I'm just a completely different person, and that's part of my problem. I need to figure out that work-life balance, work-life, rest, sleep, play balance, which I haven't got right yet. But also, I'm 26, I'm going through some different changes in my personal life, and it's tough, it's tough being a mid-20s and trying to figure it all out. And I said this to my doctor last week, actually. I was like, I honestly don't know how much of this is just life and how much of it is just life is just really tough sometimes for everybody, and what's the line between that and depression. And he explained it to me quite well, and it's different for everybody, but the thing that tells me that what I have is depression is that my life is really, really good. I have a good job, I have a really, really beautiful family, some really, really supportive friends and great colleagues at work. I live in a really beautiful apartment. In fact, this is my view right now. I don't even know if you can see that, but that's what I'm looking out onto right now. So, I've got everything kind of in place, but I just can't be happy about it, and I just really struggle, and I get really, really down, really down. And I'm not just talking I've had a bad day at work, I'm talking there's no point anymore, and that's tough. But anyway, I just wanted to say that if anybody wants to talk about anything, I'm here. I've been through it. I haven't found the cure yet. I don't know that I ever will. I think being on medication is totally fine. I've been on a few different types. Some of them have worked, some of them haven't. In fact, none of them have worked so far, which obviously, because I'm still here. But I've just started some new ones last week, and they seem to have had a real effect on me, so fingers crossed. It's just a different type for everybody. So that's that. Please keep talking about everything, because this is, as I said, I'm really open about my troubles, and I really find that it helps me to talk about things. And I've got a couple of people in my life that know everything, and bless them, they should probably be paid for the amount of shit they put up with for me. But they're really, really good, and it's so important to have people in your life that you can talk to, especially when you're in that really, really bad place. Because sat here now, I'm totally fine, and I think about myself when I'm in that bad place, and it's crazy. It's irrational. It's all irrational. That's the whole point. But I still go there, unfortunately. So anyway, I'll stop blabbering, but I'm here if you want to talk.